Hey guys, welcome back to Lily of the Valley Coaching. This is your host, Bernadette, with a new episode. We're going to be talking about reach. What is real reach? What is real influence? Okay. What defines influence? How do you know that you're influencing? Okay. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Okay. And we're going to be talking about karmics and their attempted influence. And they're the first persons to get on a microphone. They're the first people to have a phone in your face, but they're the last ones to really do the work of a real influencer. Okay. They want the title, but none of the work. All right. So let's break it down what they do. Okay. I'm going to give you real life examples, and I'm going to be giving you examples of some real heavy hitters as far as people that have made real changes in the world, really were influencers. Okay. Now, let's get into it. Real blessings are from God. We all know this, right? But some people will have you believe that they are blessed. The only things that they can show you are vanity metrics, temporary popularity, and with that popularity, the engagement doesn't match the total numbers. I'm going to give you an example, and I'll talk a little more about this later in the episode. For instance, on TikTok, I have close to 500 uh, followers, right? On a good day, I get about 350, 400 views, right? Because it's all about views. On a bad day, I get about 200. That's still a good, well, more than 200. I do average about 250, 300. Okay. So that's still a good percentage out of my total follower count. Now, you have some people that have close to 50,000 across all social media, and they're lucky if they get 100, if they break 100 likes. And the only time that they break those 100 likes is when they are showing their ass on the internet, which begs the question, are people really interested in what this person has to say? Because this person has been competing a lot. This person competes with everybody, not just me. Okay. She's a karmic. Okay. She realized that she was a karmic when she started defending karmics and saying, stop calling women karmic just because they got the man that you wanted. Baby, it's very, very interesting that you were making money off of doing karmic readings and having a list of karmic decks that you made. Now all of a sudden you want to get on board with the karmics. And the people that follow her are karmics because I don't know of any true twin flame that would follow her. Because when you follow somebody, you like what they have to say, right? But when your metrics are only spiking up when you're showing skin, that's saying a lot. When you hardly get any engagement or any feedback when you actually have something to say, but they would rather have you just look pretty, look sexy, and shut your mouth, that says a lot. When the engagement to total follower ratio is so deeply divided, let's say you get 15, 20 likes and you have close to 50,000 subscribers all across your social media. When you do the math, 25 likes divided into 50,000 subscribers, that's very low engagement. So let's break it down, okay? We're going to talk about illusion, the illusion of instant blessings, okay? Karmics love to flaunt what they call blessings. See, they don't know what real blessings are. They get money in their bank account, that's a blessing to them. They get 5,000 new subscribers, that's a blessing to them. They're able to buy something, that's a blessing to them. They don't know the value of true blessings. Okay. So again, karmics live to flaunt what they call blessings, which are to them found money, some dude that they like sliding into their DMs, a sudden spike in attention. But covenant blessings grow stronger with time. Counterfeit quote unquote blessings, they start dying the moment they arrive. And how does that happen? In witchcraft, you have to keep on doing re-up spells, reignition spells, and keep on pumping life support into something that's dying from the time that you got the supposed alleged blessing. Okay. The moment it's in your hands and in your sphere, and it materializes, it starts dying. The countdown has already happened where you have to wait till the next moon cycle to re-up again. I tell you this because my own karmic and my connection with my twin had to constantly speak to my twin's sister, who was into, and most likely still is because that's a lifetime thing, into Santeria. Okay. And meanwhile, while she's leaning on Santeria, that's the only pantheon that she can do because she's Puerto Rican. I'm part Puerto Rican too, but she's Puerto Rican, full Puerto Rican, right? She can only do that pantheon. She can't delve into other pantheons. That's the only one that she's allowed to through her bloodline. Okay, she has Puerto Rican blood, so that's the only thing she's allowed to do as far as witchcraft. Okay, me, I have that side, the Santeria side. If I wanted to do it, I could. Okay, but I also have my gypsy side, which is my mom's side. Okay, so I lean more into that one. And you don't want to fuck with a gypsy curse. You really don't. Those gypsy curses are a hell of a lot worse than anything that a Santeria person can do. I'm sorry, but that's facts. That's facts. Okay, generations have suffered off of a gypsy curse. Don't fuck with a gypsy. I'm a gypsy. Don't fuck with gypsies. Okay, we can do things to you that will. It's going to be generations long. Long after we die, you'll still be suffering, and your offspring and their offspring and their offspring and all the way down the bloodline. Okay. So what you're seeing is front loaded energy, a magic trick, a sleight of hand. And like any magic trick, it only works if you don't look too closely. Okay. What is the maintenance fee? What is the spiritual maintenance fee? Here's what they don't tell you: spell based manifestations come with a payment plan. Every 3 months, every moon cycle, every dip in energy, they have to re up, recast, and rebind. And it becomes expensive. And it especially becomes expensive if you're a child of God that they're trying to work against. They're basically trying to run up a muddy hill. They're always going to fall back down. There's no grounding there. They're always going to slip and fall because it's not real. It's rented power. And the rent always comes due. And when the rent is due, they're willing to do whatever depraved thing they can to try to get one up. But at the end of the day, if that spell calls for you eating shit, at the end of the day, you ate shit because you're trying to come against a child of God. You can't touch a child of God. At the end of the day, you think you're a powerful witch, but you ate shit. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, you're the bitch that ate shit, and we're still standing. And that's what frustrates these karmics, especially the karmics that are witches. Okay. What these ritual doing witches don't tell you is that they are slaves. Okay. They are slaves to the spell because you, as the people that support them, are making them slaves to the demons they work with. And by you working with them, you take on whatever karma they have coming to them. You're coming into agreement. You're coming into a covenant with them by participating in these rituals. So if, let's say that this karmic's karma is to lose their beauty, use their sexual attractiveness, you're going to start to lose it too, and rapidly. So whatever they're supposed to get as punishment, you're going to get too, because you're basically it's the equivalent of cutting yourself and sharing your blood with them. It's like a blood oath. They think they're in control, but they're the most bound of all. Their so-called supporters, karmics too. And karmics don't do loyalty, they do convenience. The moment the energy stops flowing in their favor, they turn. That's why these karmic witches have to keep performing. Everything about them is performative. Keep feeding the machine, keep feeding the beast, keep binding herself to demons just to keep the lights on in her little magic show. When that rent comes due, she's either showing some skin or doing a ritual. Let's talk about the dossier moment, okay? We're going to talk about the type of woman doling out advice. I've talked about this before on my episodes, okay? Look at her life and does it match the foundational basis of being able to dole out said advice? If she's doling out love advice and doing love readings, is she in love? These are the same people that like to call people haters. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Material things don't impress me because there's soft wealth and there's hard wealth. The ones that have that mentality of a soft wealth person, like these karmics, will show you the new stereo system they bought, or the new tattoo they got, or the constant hair changes. And let's talk about them hair changes. They like to talk about this self-love thing that they're doing for themselves. What they're actually doing, and they're not telling you, is that the aging is creeping up and they have to book more appointments more frequently to the esthetician, to the hairdresser. Everything that they have on rotation, they have to do it instead of every month. Now they got to do it every 2 weeks. And as they get older and as they invest in more magic, they have to do it every week then. Then it's every couple of days. And this is how they bleed their finances dry. So when they're starting to see that they're bleeding their finances dry, what happens? They start using a lot more filters. They move to things that don't require them to be beautiful, like podcasting, right? Their whole MO, their whole thing was being beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Now they want to move to something that doesn't require them to get all gussied up because that money ain't flowing the way it used to. Let's continue. These are the types of people, when a snake slides out from underneath their house, instead of taking it as a warning, they take it as a positive sign. If you're a snake and you're a serpent, you're going to see a serpent snake as a positive thing. But historically, snakes are not a good thing. If it's crawling out from underneath the foundation of your Christian parents' home, it's saying you're the witch and it's just following its master. It's a little representation of what you are crawling from outside the house, from under the house. So now you have made roots in that Christian house. Well, these are the same people that make friends with pigeons and look at their rainbow neck that represents dirt because pigeons are dirty, and make posts saying, "Oh, look at the beautiful rings. Look at the beautiful colors on this pigeon." And I ask you, if pigeons don't come from that part of the world where you're at, how are wildlife animals showing up in your part of the woods? Think about that. Making friends with lion rats. Okay. These are the same people that think that TV vampires are their soulmates. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. This is who's trying to tell you how to live, love, and move in the world. A karmic whose reality reads like a fever dream, but somehow she's the self appointed oracle of life choices. Okay. Okay. Let's just call this for what it is. Metrics don't lie when you really look at what the engagement number is compared to the total amount of followers. Like I said earlier, I got like close to, and it fluctuates, right? Close to 500 followers on one of my TikTok accounts. Okay. On a good day, I get 350 to 400. That's a good 80 to 90% of my total followership being actively engaged with me. And then you have somebody that has close to 9,000, 10,000 that doesn't even crack 200. And that's showing skin. You would think doing all of that that's expected of them as a karmic was going to drive up the numbers, but it doesn't even move the needle. That has to be very sobering. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? All these karmics on the same level with a common denominator, all are looking for the same thing. Everybody, whether you are a twin flame or a karmic, everybody is looking for love. Everybody is. We're not meant to be alone. So, what happens when the very person that has no luck whatsoever and is supposedly, allegedly so intuitive, but still keeps picking the same bullshit man over and over and over and over and over again? But are they bullshit men? Or are they the same type of men in different bodies trying to teach the same lesson that this person is just not clocking? The same person that simultaneously is a man basher, but on the flip side, does everything for the male gaze. One side of her says, I don't do anything for the male gaze, but on the flip side, you're a caricature of the male gaze. The face looks like a cartoon character. Everything is exaggerated. Everything about the body is over exaggerated. To get more clicks and views, you got to reveal a little more skin. When you build your quote unquote alleged empire off of something that's fleeting, when you start getting to a certain age and you haven't accomplished a certain thing that has nothing to do with material things, you get tired of showing the things that you can buy. The thing that you really want hasn't come to you because you're bashing the creator of that thing. You continue to bash God. You continue to bash Christianity. You continue to bash Christians. The literal first man and wife created by God. God created marriage. People weren't meant to be alone. But why do you think you're in this perpetual loop as a karmic? Trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, but getting the same result. Silence and rejection. Doing the absolute most. Sending obscene pictures of yourself. Now he has pictures of your body. Sending drops of your blood. Now he has your DNA. Sending him your underwear. Now he has a visual representation of you. Now you sent him all those things. He ghosted you, and you wonder why your life is shit now. And then you blame the women that you don't like, that are the complete antithesis of who you are. You blame divine feminines for being divine feminine because you can't be a divine feminine. You're a whole demon and you're calling yourself divine. What exactly? Please illuminate me on what is divine about you. When you have whole snakes crawling out from underneath your house, what is divine about you? Please illuminate me. Because you know how to do your makeup? Anybody can learn. Any fool can learn for free online. Please tell me what's divine about you. The fact that you can buy a pair of boots, The fact that you can mark your skin for the upteen time and look like a walking ink spot, that's what's supposed to make me believe that you're some kind of guru because you can buy things. You see, the difference between a divine feminine and a karmic, I'm going to tell you what the difference is as well as far as how we think. A karmic will buy a pair of shoes and think that they've done something huge. Meanwhile, a divine feminine doesn't talk about the money that she's making and just puts it where she needs to put it. I'm not getting into specifics, but let's just say there's soft wealth and hard wealth. The newest iPhone is soft wealth. A Picasso hanging over your mantle, that's hard wealth. We are not the same, darling. But when the beauty starts to become too much of an investment in the way of it requires too much because of the age to upkeep, it's getting a little expensive, it's getting a little frequent. It's not driving the same amount of engagement because at some point, even karmics, other karmics get tired of hearing how many times you go to the salon. Like who the fuck cares? This is your life. You live so remotely that the biggest part of your day is getting another tattoo or getting your hair done for the upteen time. And what you're not telling people is that those gray hairs are starting to come through, but you're going to repackage it as, oh, I'm going to get my hair done this way. I'm going to get my hair done that way. You're not telling people that a few sprouts have already come, but you're so vain that you can't talk about that. You would rather repackage it as a reinvention. And we've seen your kind before. Hello, J-Lo, cough, cough. Hello, Madonna, cough, cough. We've seen your type before. It's not like we haven't. We've seen your type on a bigger stage. So, what a divine feminine would tell you if you were face to face, if you as a karmic weren't so afraid to engage with and confront a divine feminine, we would tell you if you're going to come for my throne, at least bring substance. Not fake substance, not manufactured substance, but real substance. You have to know the difference when you're using these words. Know the difference, Karmic. You see, I'm going to school you. Jealousy means you can take something I own. Envy means you want what I have. Either way, you'd have to be in my league for it to mathematically compute. And you're not even on the scoreboard, babe. So let's get down to brass tacks. I'm going to go get my water because I need to really go in on this one because it's significant. For anyone thinking that influence is about follower counts and reviews, let's just revisit the historical figures that actually did make an impact. Mother Teresa, no platform, global impact. Okay? Harriet Tubman, no followers, changed the course of history. Rosa Parks. One act, one seat, worldwide ripple. Emily Dickinson. Barely published, now studied everywhere. Frida Kahlo. Not a mainstream darling in her lifetime, now an icon. Nikola Tesla. Not a celebrity, but his work powers the modern world. Greta Thunberg. Started with a cardboard sign. So simple. Malala Yousafzai began as an anonymous blogger. Ansky. No face, no voice, no captions, just impact. They didn't chase attention, they became attention. And a good portion of these people were not beauty focused. You see, these people weren't beautiful, some of them. Mother Teresa wasn't a great beauty. Frida Kahlo had a unibrow. A good portion of these people did not need to rely on beauty and sexual attractiveness to make a real difference in the world. But the world as we know it was shaped by their contributions, not a tube of lipstick. Okay, let's continue. Some of these women didn't just reject vanity metrics, they rejected vanity altogether. They refused to be ornamental, refused to be palatable, refused to shrink themselves into the mold of pretty to be heard. Frida Kahlo painted her pain, her politics, her truth. As I said before, she kept her unibrow, wore her heritage, and made her body, broken and scarred, part of her art. She was by no means an attractive woman, but she made the biggest impact without having to be pretty. Marie Curie didn't care about glamour, cared about science. Two Nobel Prizes, not just one, in two different fields, and she did it in a lab coat, not a ball gown. Sojourner Truth stood on stages and told the truth about slavery and women's rights, with no concern for being soft or ladylike. Rosa Luxemburg, the revolutionary thinker who never packaged herself for male approval. Glenn Close, she embraces aging, refuses to chase youth, and calls out the brainwashing around women's skin and bodies. These women didn't sell beauty as their funnel to get you to buy everything else from them. They were forces. Today, that pattern continues. Again, Malala Yousafzai, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, is a global education activist, a Nobel Prize winner, and never played the beauty game to be heard. Again, Greta Thunberg, a climate warrior who's been mocked for her looks and still never budged from her mission. Serena Williams, redefined athletic dominance while rejecting the idea that she had to fit into a narrow beauty box. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, acclaimed author and speaker, known for her words, not her waistline. Stacey Abrams, political powerhouse who's been attacked for her appearance and still moves entire elections. These women prove that when your work is undeniable, your face doesn't have to be the product. They didn't sell themselves, they sold their vision, and the world bought in. So, what have you learned today, ladies and gentlemen? When you stand with the karmic, you're going to fall with the karmic. Alignment is the contract, and the curse is in the fine print. Now, you got some people out here that are karmics, okay, that like to call people like me haters because we expose the truth. I'll tell you what, don't talk to me about hating, quote unquote, until you've been claimed in broad daylight with a real diamond by a man made for you. When a man actually claims you, a high quality man claims you in broad daylight and doesn't just keep you for a midnight rendezvous, then you can talk to me about hating. Oh, wait, wait. I already got you beat there too. Proposed to twice, married once. So, yeah. And I'm not that standard of beauty. Obviously, I got something to value. When an ugly bitch, quote unquote, got you beat in the marriage game twice, and you can't even get onto the race course, that says a whole fucking lot. Well done. Performance is cute until the audience starts to grow up. What is this karmic going to do when her audience grows up? Where are they going to go when it's time to grow up? You are who you follow. Always keep that in mind. Me, I would rather follow somebody of substance that's not glamorous to look at. And then I look at the contributions they've made to the world. The real beauty, lasting beauty, is on the legacy you are going to leave behind. And I've talked about this before. What's going to be your legacy, Karmic? Your pretty face or something tangible that they can read about in college classes, that papers could be wrote on, academic studies can be forged with. I'd rather be the ugly bitch that makes a difference in the world than the pretty bitch that's only known as being a pretty bitch. And with that, I'm going to leave y'all. Hugs, hugs, kiss, kiss. Until next time, guys. Let's be conscious about the decisions we make, about the alliances we keep. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.